Hi, I'm Pat Gray, reverse mortgage specialist. Almost every day someone calls me and says that they are interested in a reverse mortgage, but their neighbor told them, oh, don't do that, or their spouse said, I'm not going to go talk to that lady, because they have negative misconceptions about a reverse mortgage. Unfortunately, a lot of erroneous information is disseminated in the media, and that does not help at all. And so a lot of my job is to dispel the myths that you may have heard. For one thing, you remain on title when you do a reverse mortgage. The house remains yours. It does not go to the bank. The lender has no share in the ownership of that home. It is just like any other mortgage. The house is the collateral for a loan, and it's that simple. Uh, the lender cannot call the loan at any time during your lifetime while you're living in that house unless you do not do the things that you're supposed to do, or you, as long as you don't fail to do something that you're supposed to do, like pay your taxes or pay your homeowner's insurance. When you pass away, the loan becomes due 30 days after the death of the last borrower. The house will be left to your heirs just as it is today, just as it is now. Your heirs and your estate will have the opportunity to sell your house if there's equity remaining at that point in time. They also can pay the debt if they wish to keep the house. They can pay the lesser of the loan balance or 95% of the then appraised value of the house. If your heirs don't want the house, and if there's nothing to be gained by them selling the house, they can just let the lender take it. And they would have no credit issues because of it. It would not harm your heirs or your estate in any way. In fact, your estate could have $1 million in it, and there's no obligation to pay off that loan balance at that point in time. They can just turn the home over to the lender. And they would have up to a year after the death of the last borrower to make those decisions and to make something happen. Another objection that I hear very often is that our house should be free and clear. We don't ever want to have a mortgage. Well, that's something that our generation grew up with. The American dream, so to speak, was first to own the house, and then the second American dream was to pay it off and not have any mortgage payments. Well, you can have no mortgage payments with a reverse mortgage. And the fact that you have a mortgage on your house is not detrimental in any way to you. That's a paradigm that we have in our heads that we grew up with that we might have to change a little bit. Another objection is that a reverse mortgage is too expensive. Well, if you're faced with the choice of selling your house or getting a reverse mortgage, just as an example, you're probably going to pay a realtor at least a 6% commission on the sale of your house. That's going to cost quite a bit. And then you'd have other costs in addition to that. With a reverse mortgage, it may cost you anywhere from 2.5% to 5%, depending on the value of your house, as the cost of the loan. So it's not any more expensive, in fact less expensive usually, than selling your home. There are a couple of things that you can't get away from with a reverse mortgage, a couple of costs. But if those costs were not there, lenders would not be doing this type of loan because the risk would be great. After all, how many people can you borrow money from and not have to pay it back during your lifetime and continue to live in your house at the same time? Another objection is people say they want to leave the house to their children. That's their legacy. And I understand that because I have a reverse mortgage, and that was one of the obstacles I had to overcome in my thinking to do a reverse mortgage. My children, your children, will probably prefer that you have a financially stable lifetime and not be worried about what they're going to get out of your home when you die. Most of the time, children are more interested in their parents' well-being and the quality of their lives than their inheritance. And some people say, funnily enough, I guess, that if I die and still have something going to my children, I probably made a mistake. I've educated them, they're doing better than I ever did, And so we're not that worried about what we're going to leave our children. But that's a personal thing. And for some people, that home is the only asset that they have or the biggest asset that they have, and they do worry about that. But their financial stability, their quality of life for the remainder of their life is certainly more important. The only way for you to make an informed decision about a reverse mortgage is to have all the facts. 706-897-2822.